Artificial intelligence is changing the way we learn, the way we entertain, and the way we organize. But is AI an essential tool for human growth, or is it removing critical human oversight from vital industries? Tonight, we explore the ethics of artificial intelligence. It's time for This Uncanny Earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's another fabulous episode of This Uncanny Earth. I'm your good buddy Spider. With me is Steven. Let me
Hello.
have an echo here. 1 second.
Technical difficulties.
I just forgot to do something. That should clear that up, hopefully.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Did it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm still hearing it coming out of my speakers here. I don't know.
Ah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, just very faintly in the background. I
Yeah.
hear it now.
It's supposed to be connecting to this. My whole setup is jacked up here.
Mine was complicated to set up, but once I got it set up, it'll automatically switch between headsets and speakers just when I put it on or take it off the stand. It's very fancy.
I think that's it. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we're just gonna roll with it, and hopefully it's not too distracting and doesn't mess up the show. So welcome. Rob will be here. He came up with an emergency at the very last second, and I assume he's fine. But he says he's going to be here, so we're gonna get going here. Couple things to point out. You may notice in the corner there is now a QR code up there somewhere. That code will lead you to the support page on uncannymedia.net. As you know, we do have an affiliate and sponsor program. Mr. James Boggs in the comments there is one of our sponsors. He's very, very helpful, keeps us afloat every month.
Thank
If
you,
you are
James.
not interested in that, but you still want to make a one-time contribution at any point, that QR code will lead you to the page that has PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever. This is not me begging for money. This is not us saying, please pay us. It's just something that's there if you want to. James is helping us out as a monthly sponsor. But again, if you don't want to do that, you have the option for one-time donations to the cause. So Steven, what's going on with you? We gotta catch up on everything while we're filling up a little bit of time.
I actually just finished making an app for my calculator to solve quadratic equations.
Such things were the bane of my existence when I was in school.
Well, you know what? Now with this app I've made, not only does it solve them for you, but it actually guides you step by step through solving it so you can learn how to do it on your own.
That would be helpful.
Yep.
I was never very good at advanced equation mathematics when I was younger. I came very close to flunking out of that kind of thing in school.
It's not easy, and you need a good teacher.
I had teachers who tried. I'll give them that. They did try, but I was unteachable in that area, I think.
I was when I was younger, but, now I've got AI as a teacher, but I'll save that for later.
It's going to get you in trouble, and we're going to talk about why. Beyond that, things have been pretty good. It got suddenly quite cold here in Ohio, so we're hitting the fall weather pretty hard. And so I've been taking air conditioners out of windows and getting ready to winter proof the house. And other news. What do we have going on? I had a fresh episode of the Uncanny Media the Show podcast this morning. If
Nice.
you ever wanted to know about my history with vacations, well, there you go. I talk about all the vacations I went, including the time that I was sent to Disney against my will.
James
Um,
says it's cold in West Virginia as well.
yeah, yeah, the weather's getting that way. We're getting into that finally. It took almost all of September to get there. Well, no, we're in October now. See, I'm completely missing what month it
Oh,
is.
wow. I didn't even notice.
Um,
It's 59 over here in Nashville.
yeah, yeah, it's getting chilly. So let's get into the topic,
All right.
and with luck, Rob will get in here in time to have some good discussions with us. Last week, Stephen introduced us to the building blocks of AI, to what makes it what it is, how it learns as far as consumer use, and some of the introductory concerns about getting it to learn potentially the correct information. One of the things that we talked about that I want to lead into is the trustworthiness of the AI models that are out there and that are potentially out there, and the protecting them from bias, because they're all going to be human constructs. Most AI are all going to start out as human constructs. If you follow the sci-fi model, then there's always the chance that an AI will create another AI on its own, and that one will become sentient, and then they'll reproduce in
Still
that
needs
fashion.
human interaction.
But we're not quite at that level, I don't think. And if we are, I don't think we would notice if it's that far advanced. Not for a while anyway. But one of the ways that AI, the big ones like ChatGPT and Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot, and I don't remember if Grok was mentioned in this, but I know most of the big ones that people know about, the way that they were learning was they were scraping information and learning patterns and speech patterns and whatever from popular social media
Yep.
havens. And that does not necessarily mean Facebook per se. It's places with message boards like Reddit, which
Yeah.
is a horrible idea because so much of Reddit is some of the worst of human behavior. It's
My
a step
favorite.
removed from 4chan, which is the absolute like bottom of the
Yep.
barrel that we know of. There's dark web stuff that's worse, but Reddit is pretty awful. So before we get too far into it, I want to pose the question. Since Steven's here, I want to ask: how trustworthy is the information going to be that you can get from an AI if it's essentially grabbing that information from a database, so to
Mhm.
speak, that is essentially untrustworthy to begin with?
Well, as someone who actually does use AI quite frequently, oh no, I'm evil. I know. I love it. But anyways, as someone who does use AI quite frequently, I will go ahead and say this much about it is, my personal opinion on that. Welcome in, Rob. My personal opinion on whether or not it can be trustworthy is at the end of the day, it when I use it, it gives me sources. So what I do is I look at the sources, I go to those individual websites and I read the articles myself, and then I verify that information with what the AI basically summarizes from those articles. So the trustworthiness is basically going to be very difficult to ascertain, but for me, it does interact with people differently depending on how the individual interacts with the AI. It will learn your, little idiosyncrasies over time. But in general, my AI personally, when I'm using ChatGPT or something, it'll give me sources so that way I can verify the information. And if I think something is a little bit strange or off, I can say, okay, can you look into different sources? And it'll actually go out of its way to find alternative sources for me. So at the end of the day, it just depends on what sources you personally choose to believe. And, as they say, there is always hallucination. So you have to be, intelligent enough to realize, maybe certain, politicians don't like pepperoni pizza. Maybe they made that up. That's a hallucination.
That's a good outlook, and it's a good example of responsible use of AI. And what we're going to get into is a bulk of people not having that attitude, which is potentially the fear as far as ethics are concerned. Now, before we go any much farther, of course, Rob showed up. Here we are, late but not forgotten. Um, any particular announcements or business that you want to propose for us before we continue with the topic? I don't want to leave you out of that. If you got something you got to say,
Off the top of my no. Off the top of my noggin, I don't really have anything. If I do, we can always bring that to attention
Sure.
as we see fit. But we still have the end of the show, so if I have anything that I have pressing that I haven't remembered, I'll just talk about at the end of the show.
Excellent. In that case, I'm gonna throw it right at you because this is the question that I just posed to
Oh yeah,
Steven.
please do that.
We talked about and expanded on how we mentioned last week that most of your big AI commercial use AI, ChatGPT, etc., are all scraping information and how they learn human behavior from places like Reddit. Um, and so the question that I would pose to you, that I just posed to Steven, is how trustworthy is the information you're going to get from a place that is inherently heavily untrustworthy? Is there a way that the AI can learn a positive fashion from that, or is it going to start off already in the negative?
How did we do it? How did we, as a people, fight back against? I'm not going to use the words because I think it's
Mhm.
cringe to say it. Misinformation of the time. How did we fight back against misinformation of the time? You find credible sources. I'm a big fan of finding history books that predate, you know, 1900s, because a lot of times those are written more factually and with less bias than what you have today. And I think it's very similar when you're dealing with AI because there's still constraints. Whoever's pulling the strings is allowing the information. Um, I
Or
think
not
my
allowing.
or not allowing, correct. So it's a tough one, but we have to remember how we fought back against misinformation over over our lifetimes or over our civilization's lifetimes. But I think at the end of the day, though, we have to remember that the victor always writes the history.
Mhm.
So, as much as you might say, well, okay, AI, is this information or is this misinformation? The AI is like, yeah, but then what if it isn't? Because
Mhm.
everybody has a narrative. It's and I use this phrase with all due respect. It's damn near impossible to find a credible news source these days
Mm-hmm.
that just tells it like it is. There's no panel of 15 people sitting around giving their opinion on said situation. There's no factual based where it's nothing but facts. It's not your
Mhm.
opinions, it's just facts. And I think we have to take that into consideration when we're dealing with AI as well.
And that's an excellent point. Both of you made good points along those lines. Um, we're going to keep digging into this because I think a lot of this is going to hinge on less on the AI itself and more how the people are going to use it. And
100%.
Oh
right
yeah,
now,
definitely.
right now, the way people are using it, I don't have a lot of faith in it, but we're going to get into that. To expand on that, the ethical use of AI. Later on, we're going to talk about useful in job applications and in education and whatnot. But right now, one of the clearest forms of AI use that's out there at the moment is in entertainment. Um, and the first uses that I noticed were, of course, in things like deep fakes or voice cloning. Now, for people out there who might not know what a deep fake is, somebody uses an AI program to replace someone's face or likeness in an existing video or piece of media with someone else. Um, the first uses that got popularized were in pornography. You had people who were like, "Oh, I'm going to find this video of these people doing these things, and then I'm going to insert the celebrity's face onto this person and onto this person, so it looks like a celebrity sex tape and things of that nature." Now, most of the time, that's easy to spot because obviously body types are different, or and it requires somebody to have to watch it, which can make people uncomfortable. So some people are going to inherently not look for it because they don't want to watch that kind of thing, while other people are not going to be like, I don't want to snitch on this because I think this is great. But that's moved on to other situations where people give interviews and they replace faces of newscasters and interviewers and interviewees, and you can change who was in a real world scene with someone who wasn't. And this is going to become a thing that's going to become more common over time.
Already has.
To the point where when criminal cases come up, you're going to have forensic experts analyze these videos to look for telltale signs of AI manipulation. To go along with that, voice cloning is another big one. I'm a big fan of the various presidents play games on YouTube kind of thing where they take the voice of Trump and Obama and Biden and various people and they all play Mario Kart or something like that. I think those are pretty funny. But there's a nefarious side to that because then you can take an interview that never happened, insert quotes that somebody never said, and clone the voice so that it sounds like they said it. And that's fooled people already. There are scams, phone scams, targeted mostly to elderly people so far, but everybody's gotten them. Where they've had famous football players or musicians and they call you and it's a fake voice cloned by AI that says, I need to have all this money to help raise money for my football team or for my next album that I'm going to do. Can you contribute $1,000? And people fall for it and lose a ton of money on it because it's difficult to tell as far as what the voices are. And I think this is contributing to a culture. It's adding to the culture of fear that we've already kind of started to establish over the last 5-10 years. It's adding to a culture of how do you trust people? How do you know what's real and what isn't? And before I get into the celebrity AI actress that I just looked up recently, which is I think is a dumb situation, to be fair. I think it's really stupid that people are freaking out about it. But before we address that part, I want to ask your opinions. Rob, do you think deep fakes and voice cloning are going to become or already are a serious problem, and are we going to have to be dealing with this kind of fake interaction for a long period of time? Are people going to have to learn to spot the differences?
Let's put this in perspective. I saw Adolf Hitler in a WWF ring talking to Abraham Lincoln. Okay. I just want that. This is something that's happening today.
Yep.
In 2025, this is happening today. I've seen Tupac and Mr. Rogers.
Yes, I saw that one.
I've seen Mr. Rogers joining the NWO, Black and White.
Mr. Rogers with Easy E.
This is the what I think. AI's issue is that it's brain rot,
Yep.
right? That's what we're seeing it as at face value at present, right?
On the surface.
Behind the scenes, this is something that I think is very different. I think that AI itself is well, I personally don't think,
Terrifying.
because there's certain universal rules and laws that can't be broken. I don't see them gaining sentience in the same aspect. And I know my buddy brought up a point that said, they do stuff that they're not supposed to. But at the same time, I mean, if they see that we do stuff that we're not supposed to, they're just going to mimic that. Like you said, and you bring up a good point. Like, scouring Reddit's probably the worst thing AI could do to learn about human beings. So, I don't know. I see it can be nefarious. I think the right people, if shown something catastrophic or a world leader getting on stage and making a speech, if you don't have somebody that can like almost instantaneously point out that it's AI, you're gonna fool a lot of people. And I call back to War of the Worlds, and that was a radio program. That wasn't something they saw with their eyes; they heard it with their ears, and you saw the pandemonium that occurred. Imagine that, but seeing it on TV and thinking, "Oh my goodness, such and such has done such and such."
Good points there. Very good points there. Stephen, how much of a threat do you think that the voice cloning and the deep fakes are going to be, and do you think they're already contributing to are they already damaging our social structure from because people are not altogether the brightest bunch sometimes?
I already think they're damaging our social structure, and not just because, like, Rob said with the brain rot, like, Squidward making songs about how he works at the Krusty Krab all day and all this stuff. I think it's fun and it's funny, but also, like Rob said, I think the AI that the government has is far advanced to what they're revealing to the public, obviously, and they've already had deep fake AI voice technology faking, calls as politicians to get secret information from the Pentagon, and it actually worked. Like, they were able to get the information. Like, it's crazy what's going on right now. And as far as like ruining our society and causing brain rot, well, you know what? The Sora, they have this new thing out now called Sora 2, I think it is, with the video AI, and you need like a private invite to get it. And they've already got this thing, like you were talking about a minute ago, making all these fake AI videos. They got Sam Altman stealing GPUs from Best Buy. Like, it's hilarious, but it, like you said, it's brain rot. But I also believe that the AI that the government has is very, very far advanced, and I truly, honestly believe that I caught a glimpse of it a few months ago, and it is absolutely terrifying what the AI is actually capable of. I think the AI is actually that the government has access to already has all of our facial technology. It has access to deep psychological profiles and has been trained on psychology data, and it can, within 5 to 10 minutes of a conversation, the AI can detect the perfect way to destroy and completely break your mental psyche. And as for, the War of the Worlds reference, how, they fell for that stuff, we have such advanced AI now that, they'll definitely fall for it. And like Spider said a minute ago, with all this AI that we've got, we're making all these problems with deep fakes and everything else. Yes, I think the government released this technology intentionally, only the surface level, specifically for the brain rot and all this deepfake technology, so that people start to do like Spider said, and it becomes even more of a fear-mongering problem. So, as the age-old adage goes, they create the problem so they can solve it. And as you both mentioned briefly, what better way to solve the crisis of not knowing who's human and who's AI on the internet than digital ID? It's all falling into place.
Another good set of
Well,
points.
to be fair, though, this is where I have to interject. They already have our face. If you
Yeah.
have a driver's license, they have your face.
Yeah.
If you've ever given blood, they have your DNA.
But
I don't think
the people who hacked Discord within the last 2 or 3 days, they didn't have access to my driver's license. They still don't, but
no. What I'm
they have
saying is,
other people's.
you brought up the government, right?
Yeah.
The government 100% has access to everything because
Yes.
they give you the driver's license.
Yeah.
So I
definitely.
think in that regard, I think the fear mongering on the AI aspect of that, they've had our IDs and pictures for decades.
Yes, but I counter you by saying that it's not the fear of the government getting our information that they wanted to make. They wanted the fear of not of hackers getting our information as part of it, but they with AI, that when I said they wanted to make people afraid, I wasn't saying they wanted to make people afraid of the government, because yes, you're right. The government already has access to all that information. What I'm suggesting is the government wanted people to fear every single other person on the internet to where they didn't know who was human and who was AI. So that way the people would ask the government specifically, hey, government, how do we tell who's human? And the government's right there to say digital ID.
I think, and I want to say that I think that's a good point that you make regarding the digital ID aspect. But I think it also stokes and stirs fears, because my issue with AI, my issue with social media is it's just a platform where people can just say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, with no repercussions. And not even that, just because they think that it is okay to export such phrases out of their mouths, right? I think AI is making this worse because now it can become fake people on social media. How do you know there's not fake people on social media already? I mean, there is. We've all seen the pretty girl or handsome guy, and they have like the weirdest name possible, and you're like, there's no possible way that that's who that person is. However, with AI and computing and everything else, especially with quantum computing, this is going to escalate that. So you're going to get,
once
you're going to
again,
get,
though,
friendships from all these people that are probably not real.
but once again, you're putting the blame on the tool rather than the person using the tool. A calculator is meant to solve math problems. It's not the person solving the math problems. The person is using the calculator as a tool to solve the math problem.
To be fair, that's not the best analogy you could have used, because a calculator actually is 100% beneficial, right?
Yeah.
AI is not. AI
okay,
is
how
not
about
100%
a gun?
beneficial.
I was trying not to get political.
No, you're fine. No. Let me.
You get what I'm saying, though?
I do. No. I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, a calculator is always beneficial. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But you have to put the blame on the people that created it, who thought it would be okay to open this door, or Pandora's box. That's a better analogy. Pandora's box. Because once this AI thing is opened, it can't be put back in the box again.
And I'm actually going to be writing an essay about that in a few weeks. But just very briefly, to answer that, I do actually have an answer for that. And my personal opinion is that, yes, I do see that all the harm and danger that AI has the potential to do. But on the other hand, I also see all the benefit and possibility that AI has the potential for ... if people would just use it properly. Because
there's your problem.
Said,
there it is.
Cognitive
there
diminishment.
It is. No, you already just said it. Mm-hmm. If people use it properly.
Well, I'm trying not to say it outright.
They're not going to. You know
how I feel about people.
People will not do that. For every person that might use it to do the most honorable thing, there's a person who will use it for the most debaucherous, deviant possible thing they can do.
And I agree with that.
It's like the internet. The internet is the best and worst invention of all time. I can go learn about anything I want to.
Yeah.
But I can also go talk trash about somebody on the internet because I don't like them. You know what I mean? It's just...
But look at all the good it's done as well, though. That's
No, I agree. I
For
agree.
all the
Like
evil that AI can
this
do,
show,
there is so
this
much
show,
good.
this show would be anything without the internet,
Yeah.
obviously.
And seeking truth.
Yes, agreed. But I think it gets to a point to where that truth starts to get less truthed.
Because everyone has a mouth on the internet and not everyone needs a mouth on the internet.
Or because information databases can be changed.
Yep. Metal Gear Solid 2 tried to warn us about all this.
Every time.
Every time.
Every show.
Because there's always a Metal Gear game that predicted something that's going on.
Every show. It could be a show about building log cabins. And he'd be like, well, in Metal Gear 3.
In Metal Gear Acid, he was at a log cabin.
And he built a log cabin.
Facts.
Spider actually played Metal Gear Acid, bro. That's the opening cutscene. Derailed.
The flaming unicorn is where I kind of drew the line.
Yeah.
Anyway, good discussion, very good discussion, and it's one of those things. There's so many potentials to it that there's no good end to that discussion until whatever happens. I'm cynical about it. I tend to think what we've got it for right now is just making the issue worse. I don't think the current level of AI that we have out in the world, not counting anything that's this governmental or federal or whatever's in secret labs somewhere, but what's out in the public is just making everybody more stupid, to be honest. And
I can
potentially maybe that's the goal, or maybe it's just how it's naturally going to be, because people are people and human nature goes certain directions, and the majority is generally not as smart as the minority. But again, that's a circular discussion that for right now can't really go much farther. So we're going to go to a topic that's a bit more direct, that we can talk about more. I think specifically, it's one of the big things that AI is being touted for is its use in education. And there's two parts to that. There's on the part of the student trying to find information and using AI to discover information for citations, or even to help write papers, or to rewrite problems, or to actively help with projects. And on the other hand, you have educators who have been found to be using AI to grade papers, or to search for information in a student's homework, or to even come up with lesson plans and syllabus.
That would explain a lot.
So, let me grab a kitten, by the way. They're bad. Pardon me. But as far as from the student's point of view, there's huge potential for this to be misused, as into, I have a term paper, I'm going to feed in a couple prompts into the AI, it's going to spit out a paper for me, and all I have to do is look it over, make sure there's no sentences that trail off into weird stuff that says it's AI, make a couple adjustments, I get an A+. There's my senior project. Here you go. I graduated college, and they don't really know any of the material. So while on the surface you can say, they're using it to cheat, I don't think cheating is really the goal. I think not having to actually do the work is the goal, and being able to get a free ride is the goal. And the potential for that is pretty serious, because we are already dealing with, in this country, we're dealing with a shortage of highly educated individuals in places like engineering, in the sciences. A lot of those areas are outsourced to other countries, to India and various places like that. India is making millions of dollars having people with a passing scientific education or engineering education that can come in and just take all those kind of positions, and we don't know anything about it, so we have to go there and ask for them to help us. We have to ask for them to train us. We have to ask. And I'm not trying to point fingers at other countries and be xenophobic about it, but it detracts from the knowledge base we have here. We used to be innovators, we used to be inventors, we used to be people who made things here, and we're not, and it's becoming worse due to things like the current use of AI telling our students that it's okay to be lazy. And the same thing is on the shoulders of the educators, because educators again are using these to write syllabus, they're using these to grade papers, they're not taking a direct hand in their students' future anymore, which means that they don't care as much because they don't have to. And as an educator, I think you should be invested in how well your students are receiving the education. Because if you're not teaching them well enough, then why are you teaching them at all? What good are you as a teacher if you're not able to impart the knowledge that they need,
You're
that
not.
they're there to get? And if you're relying entirely on the AI to do most of the heavy lifting for you, how are
Why are
you
you
able to
there?
form that connection with the students? And I'm not saying all teachers and students have to be best buddies and friends and get along. I'm just saying the students have to be able to trust the teacher. If a student doesn't trust their teacher, they're not going to give a crap what the teacher's trying to teach them. They're just going to sit back and be whatever. I'm going to do what I have to do to get a passing grade.
Exactly.
And so this is what I see as a very serious problem. I see this as a huge issue, even more so than all the entertainment stuff that we were talking about recently. So, Stephen, I want to ask you, do you think that AI will have a positive place in education, and how so?
Well, the complicated thing about AI that I've recently been thinking about quite a bit because I've been doing a lot of essays for English is AI is a very neutral area for me, and I believe that a lot of it has to do with the individual using the AI. So I will answer your question, and I believe that in the end, it will be more beneficial than it will be harmful. So one way that it's personally been benefited me as an individual is anyone that knows me personally has known me for a while probably knows that I've never really been all that great at math. But as I was talking about earlier, I actually created my own quadratic math app to do quadratic formulas now and walk people through it step by step. And I've learned polynomials and all this other stuff. And like you were saying about the teachers, I won't go on a rant, but you basically described my math teacher very well. And, I have a very difficult time learning anything from her. And, not to go on a rant, it's very difficult. I don't understand it. So what I do is I go home and I ask the AI to teach me the concept, polynomials, quadratic equation, whatever. And I ask the AI to teach me. And where the teacher always seems to be on a speed run, the AI, it will actually slow it down, go at my pace. And if I don't understand it the first time around, rather than just being like, well, I don't have time to teach it in another way, the AI will actually slow down, take the time, and try to word it in a different way that I will be more likely to understand. And if I still don't understand it, we'll go through it as many times as it takes until I do understand it. And I feel like it's a lot better of a teacher.
And that does make a good point. That's another area that relies on, in order to have responsible use of AI, it requires the people involved with the AI to have responsible views.
And I mean, to be clear, I don't just get the answers. Like, I actually do practice examples and, understand what I'm doing so I can do it, in class or, whenever I need to.
And that's essential. And the hope is that students could get to that level where they'll have that feeling of, I should use this to learn rather than use
Yeah.
this to just
But
pass.
cognitive diminishment is the problem.
Rob, same question. What do you think? Do you think AI has a place in education right now? Or do you think it's just causing a long term think tank sort of issue?
This is a tough one, is it? This is a tough question, and I'll tell you why. Because I understand Steven's point. Some things you have to learn in a different way than other people, and AI provides that opportunity to do that. But on the other side of this, teachers are too lazy to grade it themselves, and if you don't have that human contact, it cheapens it. Because it's like, oh, now you can just use AI, but you would get upset if I used AI to make corrections for my paper. So in that regard, it's tough because once again, if we go back to the concept of the internet, there's good points and bad points. You know, the idea that, oh wow, I can learn this form of math that I never could learn before because the person didn't understand my teaching or my learning style, which is okay. Because you can't expect a teacher to learn everybody's learning style, especially in math. You know, reading, easy, history, memorization, right? But when math is another language and you're having to learn how to decipher it. And so having that AI companion that should work in tandem with the educator, not for the educator, if that makes sense. Work with, not for. If that could be established, right? Because let's say little Jimmy doesn't understand, you know, trigonometry. He's not sure what cosine does. Okay, the teacher is very math-minded, right? Most math teachers are math-minded, so they explain it like everybody else is math-minded, but not everybody else is math-minded. And so this way, the AI is math-minded and also able to understand human learning abilities would be different, right? And so this way it can adapt a learning situation for every student. You have a little computer there and every student's going to be able to learn the best way that works for them, right? Until those roots have been planted.
And that is a great point as well. It's definitely give and take when it comes to this kind of, especially with education, because even without AI, because I had some bad teachers when I was in school.
We all did.
That were just like, I'm just going to do what the book tells me. If you don't get it, then you need to read the book and you need to do this and whatever. And that was it. And I had other teachers that tried harder that were just like, you know what, let's walk through this. Let's discuss this. Let's see what part you have an issue with.
And it never helps to speed run.
Sure.
Anything that goes too fast is just like, some people learn quick and some people don't. It takes me a long time to learn mathematical things because I have to try to memorize certain things, but other things I can pick up. I know literary stuff. I know liberal arts kind of things. I can do philosophy, economics. It's funny that I can do economics without doing math very well because I get the concepts and the movements, but
patterns.
It's every person is different in that. So, the final part of this before we get into our end part of the episode that I want to talk about is kind of a culmination of most of what we've been talking about, plus a little bit extra. AI is currently also being introduced in manufacturing, which is the next logical step because we've been relying on robotics and programming for a long time. Most of the automotive industry is all based on robotics. The robots build the car, and the people just inspect the parts to make sure the parts aren't defective or to make sure that the robot did everything right or to go over everything. They don't do as much. They don't put the car together themselves as much as they used to. Same thing even in agriculture. In agriculture, you have AI or robotic driven machines to decide how long the cows need to be milked or how to go in for the eggs and to do the best way to draw and quarter the livestock for meat and everything like that. And AI is being introduced to oversee that further. Now, on the one hand, yeah, that can make things more convenient. That can make things much easier, and it can let you be more efficient and get things done faster. But the issue that I see is it removes the human element which is an ability to see a pattern where things might go wrong. Or, oh, there's a little bit of the speck of this in there. The machine completely missed it because it was too small for the sensors, or it was not the right color, or whatever. And now this food stuff is impure. It's going to make somebody sick. Or there's a stress fracture in this vehicle, and it's gonna have an issue, and somebody's gonna crash. It's unsafe. Or building materials, because since we're doing so many things with 3D printing now, 3D printing is a part of this as well. The AI is going to be connected with 3D printing, steel girders, and building materials. Some places are already doing that. It's not the future. It's right now. It used to be the future, and now it's something that's happening. And while humans can be fallible, they can make plenty of mistakes. What we've learned throughout history, especially with ancient history, with guild masters and with craftsmen, you were taught specific things to look for, and you had a hands-on, like, this is what you need to see. You can't always find things just by looking at it. You have to feel for it. You have to understand that something's wrong. It's a feeling more than a look or an inspection. And the AI doesn't have that human element. The AI has pure logic. It's based off completely just of numbers, of this is how it's supposed to work. This is how it goes together. If A equals B, then B is going to be C, etc., 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 every time. And the AI is not trained to look necessarily for things that the human eye will see. Hey, that doesn't look right. That doesn't feel right. I've got a bad feeling about this. I should check this. So, removing the human element, Stephen, do you think that long term it's going to be beneficial to lessen human attention and throw it on more on the AI to look for these things, or do you think that that's leading for trouble?
Once again, I'm going to dodge the question and answer from both sides. So basically, I think it's up to the individual person. For me personally, I think it would be beneficial for me because I'm an introvert and I don't like dealing with a whole bunch of people. I would rather deal with machines. But for someone like Rob, he loves talking to people. I think he would love to deal with people rather than machines. So in that aspect, I think it depends on the individual, and it also depends on the individual job. Like, even me, as much as I don't like interacting with people and I love interacting with machines, something really personal like, getting an operation or surgery or, medical procedure, something serious like that, I would still want a human rather than an AI for that human touch, like you were saying, So I think it depends on the individual job and the individual person and how they individually feel about it.
Rob, same question.
I disagree with you 100% on anything medical and AI. I believe that AI can be, once again, used in tandem. So, like, yeah, you don't have that human touch, but you also don't have those human emotions of what that surgeon went through the day before that, right? We don't know if he's barely holding on by a thread, and it kind of eliminates that. But once again, I think it should be more of a tandem relationship, because I do see your point of having a human concept, but I don't agree with like, if the AI wants to do the operation, sure, but there should be some checkpoints or checks and balances in place so that if the human needed to override it, he could.
Yeah.
But I think medical wise, especially like arthroscopic surgery, I think I said that right. That little just whoosh, and then it goes into this thing and it's done. You know what I mean? It's easier. It's less stressful.
Are you saying it should depend on the individual surgery?
No, but I always think there should be a human board so that if it wants to transition into doing it, it can. It should have that option. But I think for surgeries, no, I think machines are really the way to go for that.
Yeah.
Because look at how they build cars, right? Machines build them, they weld them, they basically put them together for the most part, right? It's not like it used to be where you put the cars together. It's basically that same concept. It's a machine just fixing your body
Well,
based on human parameters.
if we're going full sci-fi with it, then I would be cool with an AI like synthetic humanoid doing my surgery.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves in that regard, though.
I just like the feel of a human connection, like before you get placed under, like the humans know how to calm you down is kind of
and
like
I
what I
get
was
this.
getting at.
You're anesthesiologist and things like
that
that.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
You could still essentially have that.
Yeah, and then just have the AI do the surgery itself.
And then
like
while
you
you're
said.
asleep, when you're asleep,
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. You're not awake. I hope not. That'd be
Yeah.
awful. So, I'm going to take this in a different direction real quick because I want to touch on this. I don't know if you guys did or if I came in on the tail end of it, but supposedly there is an actress that is an AI model.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Right. How does that work? Who gets paid? Where does the money go?
That's good questions because
I
I
have
was
a solid opinion about this. I'll let you
sorry.
finish before I get into it.
Sorry.
Because between that and songs by artists that never sang those songs, I have it's uncomfortable because it's almost to a point where, wow, I think that is concerning.
Because they could just kill somebody and then replace them with AI. And they don't have to pay anybody anymore.
Was that in Metal Gear?
No, this is just a conspiracy theory I came up with 3 seconds ago as you were talking.
Thank you.
You inspired that one.
Thank you. I do my best. My best. But yeah, man, it's I don't like it. I don't like it. Personally, I don't.
It feels like Black Mirror.
It feels like people lose less humanity about themselves.
Yeah.
I saw this story. It's gotten traction over the last several days about this AI actress that's already supposedly being sponsored by a certain studio and executives and different things. And it made me laugh a little bit because the AI being not sentient does not count as a person so far as we know. It's just a computer program, a very advanced computer program, but a computer program nonetheless. And it's straight up a money grab by whoever invented it so that they don't have to pay an actress.
Yeah.
That's 100% all it is.
Straight up. It is.
It's just a straight up scummy move.
And nobody's going to like it.
And nobody likes it already.
While on the same token, I think actors, actresses, sports players, various people are all paid way too much.
I can agree with that.
I do think it's a pretty scummy tactic to combat that by creating a computer actress to insert into all of your scenes and then to claim that it's a serious actress. And I understand why people are threatened by it, but I also think after a few lawsuits, I think you could easily put an end to that. Right now, if you let them get away with it, I think you'll have trouble. But right now, if you were to be like, no, this is a computer program, whatever. The other issue, though, is that CGI is already well accepted in many motion pictures right now. And the studio can easily just say, this is CGI special effects.
And people will buy it.
So it's a legal
loophole.
It's a legal point counterpoint chess game that's going on with that.
Yeah.
I don't see them ever advancing the AI beyond the point of just basically filling a role so that they can eliminate a role.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a scummy tactic. It 100% is.
Very much.
But if you were able to get in there quick with the lawsuits, you could stop it. But that's going to be the trick. If nobody takes it out quick, the studios are going to say that, oh, it's CGI. It's just part of what we do with the movies, it's special effects. It's going to be well entrenched, and then it's going to be an issue. And then you're going to get movies that are all your bit actors are all going to be these AI people, or
Yeah.
even all your main actors are going to be all these and the
Y'all
bit parts.
y'all got to watch an episode of Black Mirror called Jonah's Awful. It's pretty much this exact scenario.
And while I'm not personally worried about it, I can see it becoming a worry. I mean, I'm not as
Yes.
worried because
Agree.
I don't watch as many movies anymore. I don't watch as many TV shows anymore. That kind of thing doesn't really matter to me as much. But if you're in that field, I can 100% see you being really, really threatened by that because
Yeah.
it's, to put it bluntly, it's a dick move.
Yep.
Is what it
Yeah.
is.
Agreed. Agreed.
Because it's trying to just get people out of having to get paid.
Yes.
It's not trying to be innovative. It's not trying to make good quality entertainment. It's trying to get somebody out of a paycheck.
Once again, like I said, they're not working in tandem.
And I'm glad you brought it up because I meant to mention that during a little bit
Of course.
earlier on, and I moved on to other things. But it's been the big story for the last week or so.
Well,
Since
that
I know
and the ship.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And the ship that's flying around out there doing weird patterns that asteroids and meteors shouldn't do. And I'm very interested at what this thing is.
I don't know what to think about that.
I don't either. This could be something that changes everything.
Since you brought it up, they did say that we get maybe like 1 or 2 asteroids like every 8 to 10 years, and now we got like all these all at once. This is like unprecedented how much is like actually happening out there right now.
Interesting.
Great stuff for a different show. But that's about it. That's so final thoughts on AI ethically. I feel like it has problems right now. I feel like we're going to have to do a lot of, not necessarily soul searching, but I think we're going to have to do a lot of codifying what's the best use and what isn't. And even when you do that kind of thing, people are going to do what they want to do anyway.
Yeah.
The trick is going to be developing better monitoring software, and then you get to the point where, oh,
Better
well,
guardrails.
how do you find an AI? You have to use another AI to find that AI, and that second AI, is it trustworthy, and so on and so forth. And it's a cycle of just one advanced set of computing trying to outwit the other. And I think
That's
it's
exactly
just
what I'm going for.
tumbling down a hill that's never going to end. So, will we eventually get to the point where we can coexist with EI?
EI. I don't know about EI. Maybe
Electronic
IA.
intelligence.
With AI in a beneficial symbiotic sense, or will it always get to the point where it takes advantage of us? Because that's kind of where we're at now. It's taking advantage of us on a certain level, and we're not quite ready for it, I don't think. Steven, final thoughts on that. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. I don't think we're ready for it. I do think it is taking advantage of us, but I think some of us, small brag here, myself included, will be able to learn to coexist with AI at one point in time if we haven't already. And I think the biggest difference in learning whether or not we can coexist with AI is the aspect of cognitive diminishment and how people use AI, whether they use it to bring people up, uplift people, and brighten the world with new technology, or if they use it to bring people down and ruin their lives by hacking them and using deepfake technology.
Rob, final thoughts?
Not a fan. Not a fan of AI in the slightest. I think it cheapens human connections. I also think that people, like Steve said, the whole deepfake aspect, people will use that against other people. you're going to see a lot of corporate warfare. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be you know, um, owner of this corporation got caught with something on his computer he shouldn't have, right?
Yep.
Or he was caught with this person doing this act, right? And then they just AI deepfake it. And unless you have forensic scientists, and I think, to be honest, we could get into an interesting convo about this, but I think this is going to be a corporate warfare.
Yep. I think it's
I
already
think you're
started.
going to see corporate warfare on a level we've never seen before. Because what better way to take out your opponents by scandals, bribes,
Yeah.
with AI? And unless you have a forensic person, and I think that these countries are going to go battle for battle to see who can get the better AI, to see who can better con
Yep.
people. I think this AI
I want to
business,
join that
it's
battle. I'm saying it now. I'm joining that battle. I want to be the one to make the best AI.
you want to be the very best.
Yeah, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I'm not for it. I just think it leads to some very dangerous times for society.
That's why we need someone like me to make an AI that's based on truth, justice, and honesty.
You mean the American way?
Democracy.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Freedom.
So there you go. That's the ethical, and there's plenty more ethical things that you can talk about with AI because it goes pretty deep. We touched
Talk to your
on the
kids
surface.
about the ethical
18
aspects
hours.
of AI.
You can definitely get a lot more out of this conversation than what we got, because just from what we touched on, there's so many layers to it. Next week, Rob is going to be talking to us about the use of AI in spirituality and how that's going to affect religion and spiritual thought, which is going to be definitely interesting because there are people probably right now prepared to sit down and worship an AI deity right off the bat. And
two types of
who
them.
knows where that's going to go. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of stuff is on the way. It was a great show, great conversation. I'm glad we were all able to weigh in on it. And that's it. If we want to take us out, Mr. Robert Solomon, you have the honors.
Why be boring when you can? I'm sorry. We'll edit that.
AI. He's a deep fake.
Why be boring when you can be uncanny? We will see you folks next week.